Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, your boy TPT, coming at you, not live and not from Twitch TV. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. It has been quite a while since I uploaded a video, and I do apologize for that. I've just been busy with exams and that. It is currently exam block. I have my final exam on next Thursday, the 24th, so hopefully I have some more free time after that. However, obviously, I didn't want to, stop providing content for all of you, so here I am. Now, today's video is going to be covering why stating provinces is so good. Now, this probably isn't going to be too long of one. Obviously, I have to go over the pros and cons of stating. However, I'd obviously just like to explain why, grabbing more land isn't necessarily as worth it as stating your existing ones. And there's a few things that play into that, of course. But I do have to get it to the end of the month so that this properly updates and doesn't say 50%. Alright, so when you take a province, of course, if you look at the cost of the core, this one, for example, it cost 60 admin points for a full core, a full stated core. But because of the fact that it's only a territory, it is halved. Because that's one of the few multiplicative modifiers in the game. It essentially halves the cost of coring the province. So in return for that core, you get a 90% autonomy, 6 dev province. So essentially, well, we'll just use like a 10 dev province example actually, because I think that probably would explain it a little better. So if you just give me 1 sec here, yeah, fuck it, let's just go with this one. Okay, so when you make it into a territory, you got a 90% autonomy, 10 dev province, which is essentially basically a 1 dev province after factoring in autonomy, because obviously 10 times 0, 10 minus 90% is 1. And so essentially you're paying what's that, 47 admin for 10% of this province. Now, when you state it, on the other hand, you are essentially paying the same cost. So once again, you're paying 47 admin for the remaining 90%. So basically, you core territory, you get 10% of the province. You state the territory, you get the remaining 90%. So essentially, obviously, you do have to factor in the fact that autonomy does still have to tick down the provinces. But typically, if you core it like straight away, typically it goes. If you haven't raised autonomy, I believe it goes down to around like 40% for a freshly conquered province. This is also shadow ticking away once you've occupied. Yeah, see, about 44%. So even with the, the fact that it's not at 0% autonomy, you've essentially reduced it by about 45% straight away. And obviously that will continue to tick on as you own the province and the autonomy ticks down naturally. So, if you basically do the math on it, you can either pay, you're paying essentially, 47 admin for 1 dev, and then you're paying 47 admin for at least 4.5 dev to 9 dev. And I can tell you which one of those is going to be more worth it. Now, the thing to consider with this, of course, is that whilst I say this, if you are playing, particularly in a multiplayer, if you're in a tight-knit spot, like for example, if you're playing in like the center of Europe, and there's like people all over, then initially expanding as quickly as possible and occupying as much territory as possible is definitely a good idea, because that will obviously prevent other people from taking that territory. And it's much cheaper to take it from the AI than it would be to take it from another player, because players actually have brains. So typically I would say there's, or also if you're expanding, if you're like trying to blob out world conquests, then, stating stuff, not necessarily a good idea, but you know, but if you're reaching a point, you know, where you're in multiplayer and you're getting quite, you're starting to get pretty surrounded by players, then instead of looking out, I would obviously suggest looking inwards and looking at core, you know, at stating and full coring some of these provinces, because the value that they're going to give you is significantly more than they would give you if they were simply territories. And even if you're looking at, you know, like even if you grab those, you know, like the, where is it, regional representation, you know, for autonomy and territories, or you grab the expansion one, which gives you, I think it's like, I think there's one here as well, right? Yeah, another 10%, you know, so it's like, oh, well, look, you're paying for 30% versus you're still paying for, you know, the remaining 70% of the province, you know, so it's still worth it more, even in that case. And that's one of the, you know, that's one of the reasons why states can often be stronger than trade company provinces. Like, for example, if you've played in my I can't forgotten, so I'm in Iron Man, so I can't make an example, but if you've seen my England game that I'm currently doing on our Saturday, Friday 8 p.m. EST, or Saturday 10 a.m. for me, then you'll notice how I trade companied most of the coast of the Ivory Coast, trade companied some of the inner provinces, and then just stated the rest. Now, the reason I've done that, okay, is because one, the Ivory Coast is normally a very heavily contested node, so you do really want the extra trade power to make sure that it is heading towards you. And second of all, I obviously have trade companied some provinces in order to get the extra merchant. So you know, that is obviously something important to consider, is, you know, at least I do try and like to grab the first, at least one, the merchant, and then just simply stating the rest, because typically without that merchant bonus, the states are significantly more valuable than the trade companies. And I would also suggest, of course, if you do build those trade companies, to at least try and build as many of the trade company improvements of them as possible. You can find them over in the States section under the Trade Company Investments. Always get one of the 1,000 ducat ones. My suggestion would be the Property Appraiser is definitely one of the best for the Ivory Coast. Or if it's one of these ones here where you've already got pretty much all the power, I would suggest just going for the extra force limit. And also, this one's really nice too. It gives production efficiency and local goods produced, which is very delicious, because obviously you're looking at trade in that particular region. So it's extremely powerful. And also this one here for the local trade power, and then this one here for the extra manpower and sailors, because obviously you do lose quite a lot of manpower and sailors from trade companies. So grabbing that building just really helps to make those provinces still worth at least a decent amount, you know. So it is quite expensive, but you know, it can be worth it. Especially, hell, if you just have like a single province that's in a trade company, you know, like say you've got a single province in a node, literally just make it into a trade company, drop down one of these like 1,000 ducat ones, and look at that, you just gain 5 force limit from that province. That is a good deal. But obviously, if you have more, again, you know, I would just suggest picking carefully, thinking about what you need right now. Between these 5, this one's pretty garbage, because I've already explained why. You know, marine force limit, not great. Although the minimum local autonomy isn't too bad, but it's not really worth it in comparison to the others. This one is decent in the terms of the trade value, but the army attrition is pretty shit. 0.03 is practically nothing. This one, obviously, naval and land force limit are solid, and the trade steering is very, very good in those highly contested nodes. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I don't really think there's anything else to cover. If there is, I'll probably just pop it down in the comments section as it comes to memory, and I'll pin them. But yeah, so essentially, you know, I also used to have a very bad habit of doing this, but don't just blow up with only territories, particularly because that will, it'll essentially make your economy look worse than it is. You know, it really hampers your economy, because you're increasing quite a bit, which is increasing your force limit and stuff, but it's not actually increasing your bottom line. Even if you are like a trade, you know, like a trading country or a military company, it's still a very solid option to look at, because obviously, you know, the autonomy also affects your force limit and such as well, and it's very important to consider. So, like I said, guys, I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Peace.